I hate this song. I also hate this song. You know what? Just cut to the theme song. Hello everyone. Welcome back to After the Theme Song with me, Madeline Mousy. How are we feeling? I think the last episode I posted was on Friday. I will try and do bi-weekly. I'm thinking like definitely Friday and then possibly like either Tuesday or Wednesday. So I will try and do that. Considering I don't have a job. But yeah, how are we feeling? I'm feeling good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Today we also have video. I keep on looking at the camera. I don't really know what to do, but we do have video. So hi everyone who's watching my podcast. Yeah, what else can I say? One episode down, second one to go. I was supposed to do video for the first episode, but I accidentally recorded on the wrong SD card and I needed that SD card to film something else. So I got a different SD card to film this. And that's pretty much it. As always, microphone warning, my microphone does not have a foam cover on it. So any audio issues, I apologize, which is so ironic because I'm starting a podcast. Why would audio be the biggest problem? Like, do you know what I mean? That is the worst thing to have a problem. Like, I probably have got visuals down. But yeah, audio is a problem. And I hate when audio is a problem because ironically, I used to be a podcast editor. I used to be a podcast and video editor. So yeah, nothing too special, but I get the strife of it. Anyways, welcome back, guys, to After the Theme Song. I feel like I should give a little bit of background to why this podcast exists. So After the Theme Song is actually a cartoon-inspired podcast that I actually wanted to make a blog once upon a time. I wanted to make a blog called After the Theme Song to talk about my opinions with cartoons, how I feel about them, like, because one big interest, and everyone knows a massive interest in my life, is animated shows, animated TV, anything animated. I got it down. I was telling people I remember every single Strawberry Shortcake song, every Barbie song, every any song from any sort of childhood show, animated show, I will remember. So After the Theme Song is actually cartoon inspired, like the name, and as well as the name of all of the episodes that you're gonna see, they will always start with the and then blank, related to what the episode is about. That's just an homage to, like, homage, is that the word? I don't know. That's just to honor what After the Theme Song is about, because it is cartoon inspired, and I took inspiration from Infinity Train, which is one of my favorite cartoons, animated cartoons. It used to show on Cartoon Network before it got cancelled due to it being seen as too mature for the age demographic it was going for. But it's inspired by train cars. Every episode is called the something car, like the cat car, dog car, and cars on the train. So After the Theme Song takes inspiration from that, and my first episode was called The Gatekeeper. I don't know what I'm going to call this episode yet, but we'll figure it out as we get there. So that's just a bit of an intro to why it's called After the Theme Song, because the show starts after the theme song. I was thinking about changing the intro though. So we'll see. But I do want the same vibe, but I think I would want to change the music. But yeah, hi everyone, welcome to After the Theme Song. My name is Madeline Mousy, your host, and today we are going to be talking about having just finishing my acting course at the National Youth Theatre. Really, in general, we're going to be talking about creative academicness. That's a term that I've coined. I've never seen anyone else use it. And if someone else has used it, I'm happy for them. But I've personally taken it upon myself to label myself as a creative academic. I think it's one of the most prominent labels I have with myself that I agree with. Alongside like other social labels you have, Black, woman, etc. Creative academic is one that really sticks to me. And it's the one that I really enjoy the most. So yeah, I have recently finished a part-time intake course at the National Youth Theatre. Absolutely, I loved it. Like one of the best 5 weeks of my life. It was such amazing, honorable people. When we were doing the checkout, I did cry, and I'm a massive crier. I don't take any shame in being a crier either, because I will cry anywhere and anywhere. I might even cry today, considering the nature of this. Oh, it's getting a bit dark. Last week was kind of like fun and goofy, silly when we were talking about anime, but it's getting a bit dark. Not dark, emotional. So yeah, I'm a massive crier. I don't really care. Tears are gonna fall, and they might as well. But I did say to we went to see a play. We went to see Hot Wing King, and I went with the other people in the course, and I said I really don't want to cry in front of you guys. I told my other friends, like, these people have seen me sweat to copious amounts because we did a lot of physical work. They've also seen me laugh. They have seen me act, and some of my closest friends have never seen me act. Some of my closest friends have never seen me sing. Some of my closest friends have never seen me in those positions where I feel the most vulnerable. My creativity is the most vulnerable part of me. And these strangers have seen me act in the 3rd week of me knowing them. And that says a lot. And I think that's why I value the course so much. And I value these people this much, because I've been put in a position that some of my closest friends haven't even seen me in yet. And that says a lot. So that was a bunch of stuff, but let's start from the beginning. So in terms of wanting to be an actor or like being a creative person, I've always been a creative person. It's never been outside of my personality to be a creative person. And during A-levels, I kind of had that toss up where I was kind of like, I really love psychology. I think I'm good at it, in fact. But I want to still be creative in my life. Even if I don't get money from it, I want that satisfaction. I've always been that kid, but I've also never been... It's difficult when you come from like, my parents are working class parents. We're working class immigrant parents. So I did a lot of things in my younger life. I did singing, I did trumpet, I did piano, I did guitar, I did trombone. I did everything, but it comes at a cost. And that is literal money. And to do all of those things, and I'm very grateful for until I was 12, and I'm 22 now, so that is a good 10 years of my life where I have been vacant from all forms of instrumentation. I recently just got back into singing, and I'm moving home now. I do want to get back into learning the piano because I can't read music unless it's for singing, which is so ironic. Anyways, it comes at a cost. So my creativity came at the literal cost of the cost. And that is something to be said and something to be desired. It reminds me of when I was listening to the LBC talk about the 11 plus and how kids going into grammar schools, at a certain point, it stops being between who is actually smart and starts being who is a parent that can afford to teach their children the patterns of this test and who can't. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I've always been a creative person. I've always been a creative kid. I take it from, I would want to say my mum's mum was, I believe, a music teacher. My mum's dad played the piano. Like, I do believe I'm not vacant of a creative bone. I want to say it's actually in my bloodline. I've been called a jack of all trades, master of side quests, everything you could imagine. I just love doing things all of the time, including this podcast. So anyways, I did have a bit of that moment where I was like, do I want to be academic or do I want to be creative? And I think the difference between my story and a lot of people's is people go the academic route because they have been put under pressure to do that. My mum has never been that type of person. She has always been like, as long as you can make a living, as long as you can be satisfied with life, go for it. So it was so interesting when we went to Nottingham Trent and she saw the animation course and she was like, this is something you'd like. And I said, yeah. And the problem is, it's hard to be creative when you have a part that doesn't work. Like right now, I can't draw. I just went on a whole thing talking about how this whole podcast is dedicated to my love of animation, but I actually cannot draw, not sufficiently, and I can't animate. But anyways, I decided, I was a theatre kid, so just to add on. So I decided to go the academic route in my life, and that's no problem. I actually never had a problem with it until I got to the end of my degree where I knew I wasn't going to get first. And if anyone knows me, I hold myself to a disgusting standard that is so unrealistic. Not even my parents put me to such a standard. It is all me, which is so funny because my phone is vibrating, so I'm gonna just put it on do not disturb because everyone needs to relax and we're recording a podcast episode. But I might look at it occasionally for my notes. Anyways, so okay. So what was I saying? Oh, I lost track of my thought. Oh yeah, I hold myself to a really crazy standard that is so unrealistic. So during the end of my degree, when I realized wasn't gonna get a first, I fell into a crazy deep, like, I don't want to say dark place because I do think I was in some state of depression because I thought I'm not as good as I thought I was. I didn't get what I wanted. So why don't I just go for something else, something that I know I also desire, which is creativity, which is acting. And at the time, it was a shock to a lot of people, and I felt very unsupported. I don't want to cry, but I did feel unsupported. I thought some people really did support me, and I was really grateful. But there was a time where I literally went like silence. No one knew what I was doing in terms of acting. I went to like a couple shoots that I found on like Mandy just to understand like TV and film and stuff. I did like someone's demo reel and stuff, and I did feel a bit unsupported. I felt very lonely in this, and I was telling people when I started the course, I was like, I had the conversation with our supervisor or director, I don't really know how to say, her name's Roberta, absolutely legend, amazing. And I said, it's difficult for me because I kind of had to propose this as a hobby because I didn't know how people would receive it. And obviously that comes with a lot because at secondary school, it was very strange to be, talking to the boys, doing all of that, and then like when we had a production, being an elf for 10 minutes and going back to normal. But I think no one misunderstood that I was a creative person, but I didn't feel supported in the sense that people were concerned as to whether I was visibly breaking down because of how I felt about my academic life, which I understand, which I get. But obviously on my flip side, that feeling like no one cares for my dreams, no one supports me, so I'm going to support myself. And if no one cares for me and if no one wants to support me, I might as well charge it. Like, I took that and I ran with it. And I'm so glad that I did, because if you had asked me a year, if this situation would have happened at least in my first year, I think I would have stopped. And I did for a second. I said, maybe I'm just being ridiculous. But at what cost? The cost of other people's perspective of me? No, that's ridiculous. So yeah, when I applied to the National Youth Theatre course, I didn't tell a lot of people. I told, I think, my flatmates. They're gonna be like, flatmate shout, because I mentioned them last time. Yeah, I told my flatmates, specifically SJ, Sammy and Noura. I think I told Lynn and Kemi, my first year first friends, that I'm applying to this course. And it was actually SJ who found the piece that I auditioned with, because at the time I had audition pieces that I thought, I could do, but I was like, I don't resonate with any of those. And it's difficult because I'm a broke student. I do not have a job as of current, which is really disappointing. I do not have a job as of like recent, and I don't get to see a lot of theatre. But I remember telling my friends, I was like, as much as I understand the drive to be in TV and film, but I love theatre. It is what I've done the whole time. When I told my singing teacher in like year 9, by the way, I don't really listen to a lot of like regular music. My day-to-day music, I listen to soundtracks, I listen to My Little Pony songs. That is what I listen to. And she was like, okay, we can do musical theatre. And I had no idea. She opened my eyes, essentially, to a whole world. Granted, I didn't do a musical theatre course. Granted, I could never be an actor, and that's a reality I'm okay with. But I wish I could remember her name, because she changed how I viewed what I loved. Anyways, so I told a couple people I'm applying for this course. SJ found the piece. I auditioned with the piece, and I said, I remember my audition tape very clearly, and I said, I have been in an academic space for essentially all my life. And I do not know how to break this wall. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know anyone because all of my friends are academics. Or if I'm going to ask someone, it's going to be a friend of a friend. And it's awkward and I'm trying my best because I started a lot of it just asking people, do you know anyone who does acting? Can I ask them any questions? All of that stuff. I don't have any links to the world. I have so many academic links, but I have zero creative ones. And even then, the way the London creative community is formed, it is a bit resistant. It is a bit harder to understand. And as someone who struggles, like, to make... I don't know if I struggle to make friends or I struggle to keep them. I think the way my friendships work, there is a struggle there sometimes. So yeah, I was really like, do you have anyone? So I remember saying in my audition piece, I really just want friends, or I just want community. I just want to, so for National Youth Theatre, I applied really early too. I applied in February. I learnt the piece like within the week. Sorry if I'm sniffing. I'm really emotional for some reason. Anyways, so I learned the piece within the week or within the first 2 weeks, and I did it and I sent it off, and then I got the recall and I was geeked. And then I did it in Slough. So I lived my video audition was in London, and then I came back home to Slough. And I sent it off, and then I did the audition in front of this lady and stuff, and I thought I fucked it. Like, I practiced all morning, and I thought I fucked it. It's not happening. I'm really scared that something's gonna happen to the audio and I'm gonna have to film this again, but it's okay. And I thought, yeah, I fucked it. She told me to do the piece, and then she said, okay, let's take away the theatre-ness of it and do it like you were telling me a secret. Like, we're at a pub and you're telling me something and you don't want to do it. And I did it, and I thought, I've fucked it again. And at that moment, I accepted it. I put my hands up. I'm not going to lie. Even though I am a religious person, or I have a connection with God, I was just like, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, and I'll take that on the shoulder. And when I got in, I was so happy. I was so excited. I literally thought, I thought, so loud, because I was just like, all of this battling my own intuition is gone. All of this loud noise that I thought people were putting in my ears is gone, because I've all of a sudden felt like I've proved myself, right? And obviously, sometimes it's not based on ability. And because this is something I learned early on when I had to come accustomed with rejections within that industry, is sometimes it's actually not about your ability, and it's about if you suit the vibe, who is on the panel and all of that stuff. But I really felt like I needed that in that moment. And I'm so grateful to everyone who auditioned and I had conversations with after. I am so grateful, because I'm blessed to be in that position, because I think I was at a point where I was just like, maybe I'm just not worth it, and it is what other people said. One of my things where I get into it and then I leave it alone. And that is something true about me. Like, I do get into things and then I let it go. And not on purpose, just other things come railing into my life. So yeah, that's what, if anyone wants to know, the piece I auditioned with is 7 Methods of Killing Kylie Jenner. I didn't get to see the play. I read it, in fact. Such an academic way to do it. I read it, and it was amazing. I loved it. I connected with it so much as a Black woman who understands Twitter, and understands that friendship dynamic, and understands the beauty standards that are put upon us. I thought it was perfect, and it fitted me well, and I really connected with it. So thank you to SJ. Anyways, so I have just come out of doing that 5 week. That was a really emotional beginning. So yeah, I've just come out of doing that for 5 weeks. And it was really amazing. We learned so many things: physical theatre, voice, and writing, and all of that stuff. I met some incredible, amazing people. And in a moment, you're kind of like, what now? Considering I have no money, it's very hard to watch theatre for a very small amount of money. But yeah, I have so many things I want to do. Obviously, emails to send, and theatres to look up, and things to learn. And I don't know, maybe one day I'll get an agent. My mum and Lynn, my friend, were telling me I'm a very accidentally negative person. I said, oh, maybe this will happen, or if this, and all of that stuff. And I should always be like saying the wills. Lynn is a very will person. She'll be like, when you are famous, when this will happen. Oh no, I say I've confused myself. Lynn is a very when person. She will say when you get this, when you get that, and I'm very much something like, oh, if it's possible, and all of those things. Like, I sit in the possibilities, where Lynn sits in the direction, which I'm trying to do. So I'm keeping that in mind, you know. So yeah, National Youth Theatre, it was amazing. I really enjoyed being with people who just had the same creative drive. I don't know if I was thinking about it too deeply, and I don't know if everyone had the same experience I did, but I'm going to cry again. I'm going to try not to, but not that I don't have creative friends. I do have creative friends, but I don't think I have an established closeness, an established intimacy with creative friends, because and I made a TikTok about this. I don't get to create with anybody. I create with myself, but I don't really get to create with anybody, and that is something that I've always desired and I've always wanted. And even, in fact, I was talking to my flatmate, and I was looking at Rhett and Link, how they've been friends for 40 years. Oh, my camera's gonna die. Let's take a quick pause. Okay, we're back. I don't actually know how much charge is on my camera. I only charge it for like half an hour, so we'll see. But anyways, as I was saying, I've been seeing a lot of YouTube channels or podcasts where it's like it's mainly male men, which is so interesting, because I was listening to a podcast talking about the deficit in male close relationships. It's specifically in America, like in terms of friendships and loneliness and all of those things along the line. So yeah, so I was thinking about, the Rhett and Link celebrated a couple days ago, I think, their 40th friendship anniversary. 40 years. And like I watched Jolly, and that's Josh and Ollie, and they've been friends since university. During writing my dissertation, I watched this Canadian podcast of, I think I'm trying to remember their names, Derek and Nico, and they've been friends since they were like 15, they're 22. And I was thinking about, like, I have friends that I've been friends with for a long time, but no one that I genuinely create with. That isn't like, we're taking this seriously. And I think to be in that space at National Youth Theatre with people who take it seriously and we're creating seriously was such a blessing. And yeah, like I said, I started the crying. I have no shame, because I'm a crying person. So yeah, I enjoyed that. So I'm actually really grateful. I'm really grateful for the space that I was in, and it meant a lot to me. And sometimes I get a bit cautious about how much things mean to me if they don't mean the same to everyone else. But then everyone's life pattern is so different. So what am I talking about? You know what I mean? Like, if it meant something to me, it meant something to me. And I really hope that I can keep fostering the friendships. In life, you do have to be a bit of a beg, which is, I'm actually really not ashamed of being a beg when it comes to just eliciting conversation. I'm a pretty nice person. If someone finds me annoying, they could just air me. And so far, I haven't been aired. So I don't think I'm that annoying. But yeah, it meant a lot to me. And obviously, not much people listen to this podcast. It's only my friends and a couple people. But like, as someone who has coined the term creative academic, when I make it anywhere, I will describe myself as a creative academic. It is a label that I hold very highly. I don't know anyone else who uses the label, so I've just taken it upon myself to label myself that. I do think it's really difficult to give advice in this situation, because people have pressures from their parents or external factors that they can't control, where they have to go in an academic direction to guarantee security, because the arts doesn't always guarantee security, but I would say, if you are in an academic space and you still want space for creativity, you do have to work hard for it. I am grateful in the sense that I had a good support network of people who, when they did support me, they did. And they would send me things when they saw it. And I would be on Google every day trying to figure it out. But I think find a space where you can create yourself, you can do it fulfillingly. And I think there's a difference, because when I thought I was going to do animation, I was like, I I said to myself, I can't learn psychology. You can learn psychology, but I can't learn what my time at King's will give me. But I can learn to draw, and I can learn to animate, and it might not be as best, and it might not be as worthy as people who go to flipping Cal Arts, but I can learn that, and that can fulfill me. And I would be okay with just posting random little cartoons if I could draw them on the internet and not make that my life career. And same with this podcast. I told people, I was like, evidently I'm not going to become a podcaster, and I'm okay with just having this little thing and it doesn't go anywhere. But I think if you are someone who desires creativity, or you feel like you're in two minds about it, do the thing. Like, go, what is the worst that could really happen? Because at the end of the day, I think everyone talks about the degree to fall back on when it comes to me. They're like, you have 2 degrees to fall back on, yada, yada, yada. And essentially that is true. But it's so funny because psychology is not a guaranteed space either. It is so tight right now, oversaturated, difficult, 1% to get into the decline sci. I have 2 degrees and I still don't know if that will guarantee me a psychology job, which is so interesting. So yeah, I think if you're in 2 minds about being a creative and being academic, look at your timeline. Look at where you can fit your creativity in. It was frankly impossible for me to do it at the same time as my degree. When I started doing NYT, I was in the midst of writing my dissertation, and I could see the fear, or I could see the wow in everyone's eyes as when that dissertation was breaking me down. And I'd walk in the check-in I was saying my mind is at a 4 and I'm really stressed, and I'd have a well-being session and I'm like, I'm so immensely stressed about my dissertation, but I'm coming here every weekend to act. And in those moments where I was extremely stressed, all I could think of was, I can't believe I'm doing both things that I like at the same time. And it is hard. It's difficult. It is really hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but I think I used to really struggle taking compliments, but I realized that like the beauty is when you realize that the way you're being perceived. And my friends, I was talking about my podcast. I think my friends were talking about my podcast and they were talking about my acting, and they said, one thing we admire about you, Madeline, is like when you're passionate about something, you just go for it. You just do it because why not? And I think that comes from feeling like I couldn't do it at a certain point, not because of anyone, but I have a lot of like high school trauma, I guess. So I used to feel like, oh, maybe I can't do it, maybe it's cringe, or I don't know, that sort of insecurity. So I would say if there's something that you want to do it, because why not? Like, people make singing accounts and I believe everyone has potential to sing, and they quote unquote can't conventionally sing, but they do it anyways. People draw pictures and they don't know, and they do it anyways. What is the worst that could happen? I think my first step is breaking that barrier between your insecurity about your own creativity, personally for me, because like I said, it's a very vulnerable space for me. Some of my friends haven't even seen me sing, sort of thing. And I'm working on that. That all comes with confidence. But I feel like one thing I want to tell anyone who's academic as also creative is find spaces for your creativity within your academia. There was a module that like we could write poems for, and I did it because I was like, yeah. I've just gotten into posting. I posted about getting into my acting course on LinkedIn. Like, find those creative spaces within your academic space. Like, go to your sewing club on the weekends, or do the thing. Do you know what I mean? I think that is my number one advice. Do the thing. Even if no one supports you, even if you're not the best, do the thing, because you do not know where you'll end up. When I said to everyone a year ago, oh yeah, I'm going to get into acting, do you think I thought I would get into a National Youth Theatre course? And I was talking to another person on the course, and they were like, I wish they would talk about how hard it is to get in. Like, it is. It's quite frankly a bit hard. I didn't realize it's quite funny because I didn't realize what I got into until I got into it, and I googled, oh, how many people are in the National Youth Theatre or get into the National Youth Theatre. Like, people try like several times, and I'm really lucky and blessed to get in the first time. Like, it is kind of hard. And I think everyone who was on this course, if they ever hear this podcast, they should be really proud of themselves. Whether they auditioned the first time, 10 times, they should be really proud of themselves, because it is really hard. But like I said, like, do the thing, apply to a million things. When you learn rejection, and it's something that I've learned recently, when you learn rejection, you kind of stop caring and you just kind of go for it. It's so fascinating because in academic world, academic validation is so instant. You do the thing, and quite frankly, normally when you work the hardest, you get the grade that you usually deserve, and the gratification is like, it's like that. It's just a quick snap and you're happy with it. Do you know what I mean? And even if you don't, you have another thing to give you academic validation, whether it's the institution or the job you get after. Whereas within this industry, you could work the hardest, do everything right, still get rejected, and that's something you have to sit with. So if you're going to get rejected, if there's a possibility of you getting rejected at any step in within your life, what is stopping you from doing it? It has to be like an issue within yourself. Do you know what I mean? And apart from like external factors like lack of money, which I did say I don't have any money to go and watch theatre shows, I had to use my university email to access a website to read plays or read reviews or do something else. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, do the thing, go for it, and you can exist in those two spaces. I think one of the issues with this is thinking that you have to pick one or the other when you can most definitely have both. And I'm learning to navigate how you can have both. Social media is a great thing to learn how to have both. Community is a way to find how to have both. Like I said, I went into this acting thing, my one thing being like, I am at a very immense knowledge deficit because I have dedicated 4 years of my life to intense academic environment, and I would dedicate, honestly, 4 more, maybe not drama school, but something, 4 more into just matching that part of myself, just making them both equal. And I think it's never too late to do that. And it's honorable and it's admirable when people go for those things. And I, honestly, in my heart of hearts, in the future, no matter where I am, ideally on someone's screen, on someone's stage, somewhere like that, if I could offer someone the possibility of knowing that you can be both, because I said on someone's screen and on someone's stage, but I could be in someone's room. Like, if I could offer the possibility of giving anyone the knowledge of you could be both. You hear about other actors or comedians who went to med school. Med school is longer than a psychology degree plus the masters, and they're in the creative space. Just do the thing. And as I'm saying, like, I would love for people to start calling themselves creative academics. Like, that is what I've been calling myself this whole time. And there's no shame in that. I think also something that I really struggled with was thinking that I didn't deserve to be in any of this creative spaces because I had dedicated time to being an academic in comparison to other people who had dedicated their time to being a creative. And I think when you realize that everyone's journey is different, that sort of thing just disappears. You stop thinking, oh, maybe I don't deserve this and maybe I don't deserve that, and start realizing that this is a learning opportunity. You can learn from every single person within the spaces that you have been like put in. My camera keeps on dying, so I'm gonna have to wrap up soon, but I wanted to say, even with labeling yourself a creative and labeling yourself an academic, those labels are so obsolete. Like, humans are so multifaceted that it even feels wrong sometimes. And I think that's why I had the label, because I was just like, I'm so multifaceted, I have to say both things. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, take that how you will. Honestly, like I said, my final performance, it was amazing. My friends Hafsa and SJ came to see me, and I was like, guys, it's literally a 15-minute performance, it's nothing crazy, and they got me flowers, made me feel so special. And I think that's one thing I've learned from that. When people make you feel special for whatever you do, whether it is creative or academic or nothing in between, knowing people can make you feel so special isn't that worth it? Knowing that you can feel so special, like, isn't that worth it in a way that isn't validating? I think being in the acting space has made me loosen the reins on needing academic validation, which is so fascinating. They all feed into each other. And I think it's interesting because psychology feeds so much into acting, especially when I watch any sort of film or show. especially when a lot of it has psychological representation. You know, people get depressed, people have anxiety in a lot of TV shows. Yeah, it feeds into it. And I think realizing that this is kind of like a gift and I can see the creative space from a different point of view is amazing. My camera is still dying, guys. Still dying. I feel bad for anyone who's going to be watching this podcast, because I've been all over the place with this camera. I need to remember to like charge it before I do anything. But yeah, to conclude, in life you can have it all, guys. I mean, excluding the actual systems in place, such as, I don't know, capitalism and colonialism that gets in our way, just do the thing and go for it. I do think I will probably be doing an episode one day on like coming from a secondary school and that I came from and how that affected me. And I think me taking charge of my own creativity and my own passions has really led me to a space of contentment and happiness. Like, I'm really happy with everything I've done and where I am. And even though it's a very small piece in a big puzzle, it's a very good piece. It's like the last edge piece. I'm a puzzle nerd, so anyone who loves puzzles will understand the last edge piece is really important. So yeah, just, I'm really grateful. I enjoyed my time at the National Youth Theatre course. Everyone there was lovely. We're gonna start a theatre company called Fusion Orange, and I think that we just love each other so much, like, and it's all 35 of us or 32 of us. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing out on, but honestly, there is more time in the world to record more on the episodes. I did want to actually reference last episode, The Gatekeeper. Guys, did you know it was the people who were leaking Dan, I think that's the name of the anime, that's why all the anime sites got shut down. So yeah, apologize now. I hate people who leak things. Maybe next time I'll have an episode called The Leaker and talk about how I hate people who leak things, because you ruin it for the rest of us, man. Ruin it for the rest of us. Anyways, thank you guys for listening in or watching, because we are on YouTube. I don't know which way to look. It's confusing to me. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, tuning in. I'm sorry it's so long. Hopefully it was worth the listen. And yeah, I will see you guys possibly on Friday, because I don't know if I'm going to post this today or on Wednesday, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, bye. I'm waving to the camera. I'm going to wave to the mic, even though you can't see it. But yeah, hugs, kisses. See ya.